Well, Paul, not the result we were looking for this evening. You said 2 wins this week to stay in the playoffs, and very definitely not a win tonight.
No, definitely not a win tonight. And the first thing to say is how well Braintree played. I thought they pressed us, and on the counter, second half, caught us on 3 occasions. And we looked very, very tired as a team, and that's been coming for 3 or 4 weeks. Putting the same people out, expecting the same result. But no, it looks like a season that's finally sort of caught up with us. And in many respects, I look back on this season. I've already said it's been one of my hardest seasons, and that's how it feels at the moment.
Fairly even first half, and when Ross saved the penalty just before half time, must have hoped we were going to go on and take benefit from that, capitalise on it.
Well, I think the other thing is we were defending against a very strong wind, in the first half, and like I said, they got their penalty. Ross has saved it, and you'd expect the second half for us to come out flying out the traps. Thought the wind died down, having said that, at the start of the second half, and it wasn't quite as fierce. But you only got to look at that centre half. I think he's won every header all night long. Every header that came in from across, he's won. And yet I watched Harrogate play them on Saturday, and the boy didn't win a header, and he got absolutely chewed up by Harrogate. So at the minute we're in that horrible phase of players out of form. 3 or 4 of the players I know are suffering in terms of the injuries they've picked up, and we've got probably 8 people on the sideline. But that's not to take away from what Braintree did tonight, but it's also not to take away that what Bailey and I have known has not been right for a long time.
Second half, the more we push forward, as you say, they just kept catching us on the break.
Yeah, and again, you look at that. Say the goals they scored were decent counter-attack goals, and the finishing was excellent as well. But when you see 5 or 6 of our players in their box, and yet they've got 6 getting into ours, and we've still got 1, then it tells you about the bit of desire or lack of desire that was there today. It's an embarrassing result. It's an embarrassing performance, and they're few and far between in my 11 years or 11 seasons here. So, not that many. We've had a few over the time. You go back to losing 5-0 at home to Dover when we put out that side before the FA Cup. But this was, this is up there with any of the poorest results against a team that, is certainly going to be relegated and currently sits at the bottom of our league, having lost their last 4 or 5 games. So tonight actually was 2 teams out of form. We needed to win tonight to get back into it. But ultimately the players now have to take a responsibility. We always protect them. We always look after them, but they've done very well for us over this last 3 or 4 years. But the reality is since August, since losing Tommy, we haven't had a front 2 that are competing for the ball, that are able to hold the ball up. And we've got 7 or 8 in that team that you go to war with, and there's about 8 or 9 at the minute that you wouldn't. And we're stuck with them at the moment to the end of the season. But there needs to be a shake-up, and there will be one. And it's going to be a tough last 8 games, to be honest, because we've asked for improvement. We've pleaded for improvement. You try and put your arm around them, you try and give them a kick, but they're not responding. Now either that's down to me and Bairdy, and we've got to look at ourselves, or it's down to 7 or 8 players in that dressing room, and that's what will come out in the wash in the next few days.
That's the first start tonight for Nishit Balikli. Difficult game for him to play. How did you think he did?
I thought he did okay. I mean, he looked bright early on, sort of faded a bit as we did in our performance. I thought our performance first half was okay. It got worse as the game progressed, and listen, for a 19-year-old, we brought him in to try and get a better vision of passing. We've not been happy with our passing, but the problem is, unless you've got some front players that are prepared to put their head in, and are prepared to actually run in behind people, and when you thought that Jamie Collins was one of the few runs in behind in the last 5 minutes of a game, it sort of shows you the desire of our front 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. So yeah, it's a disappointing night. It's an embarrassing performance. I think they should be embarrassed, and like I said, but there's not many times that I can level that at them or myself. But if you don't go back home tonight and worry, that things aren't right, then you're not doing your job properly.
The home defeat against Boreham Wood earlier on in the season was probably the most similar to tonight, and the next game we went out and beat Wrexham 3-0, so be hoping for a similar response against Gateshead.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you want an immediate response, but the response was needed tonight, really. It was a chance against a team that had lost 4 or 5 on the trot. that were clearly struggling for confidence. The thing is, with football, goals will change games, and that first goal that they got gave them a massive lift. And I thought that also their pressing of the football and the way they got around us, meant that they thoroughly deserved, their win. As I said, our supporters have been spoiled for 3 or 4 years, 5 years even, absolutely spoiled. But we tonight look like a relegation team. Make no bones about that. We look like a team that would get relegated if we carried on. If this season carried on and we were only halfway through it, we'd be looking at a relegation problem, not a mid-table problem. So we've sort of done the job to keep this club in this league, but ultimately we expected, better than that. And our aims at the start of the season aren't going to be met. And as I said, it'll be a long sit down and decide who's to blame for that. But we were talking coming up that if we keep this club as a National League club, and a good National League club, over this next 4 or 5 years, then that in itself is a major achievement. The problem that with me and Birdie is we want more than that. We always want more. And the problem is the last 6 games, it's disappointed us to the point where tonight you've lost 3-0 at home, unheard of really for us. But it's also the manner of the defeat. So a lot of soul searching to be done, a lot of decisions to be made, but ultimately it does also come down to the players, and we were very quick to praise them, very slow to ever criticise them. But tonight I haven't criticised anyone individually, but they'll know on the way home tonight whether they've given their all for the shirt. And the issue is, it's been like it for probably 8 weeks now, as we've whilst we've got a squad of 22, I think we've only had about 12 to pick from. And 3 or 4 of the lads that have done all right tonight probably wouldn't have played if we'd had anybody else. I include my skipper in that, who again gives you absolutely everything, Dean Beckwith, both suffering from injury. And it's difficult when you can't change it. They always say that the point of lunacy is to keep trying the same things, hoping for a different result. And the fact is, we keep putting the same players out and not getting a different result. And it's very difficult to turn that around. Unless one player's find form, or sometimes you need also that thing in football is a bit of luck. But I go back to the Barnet home game. We missed 3 unbelievable chances. I go back to Saturday, we missed 2 chances from 3 yards out. We've had chances, but tonight was a dire watch. Very little goalmouth action from us, very little intent to get in the box. I think we had 4 fantastic crosses in the first half. Not one of them forwards wanted to get across the near post or get inside the far post. And for Bailey and I find it, we find it quite embarrassing. That level of performance, unexpected. You said to me unexpected. Not perhaps for me and him so much, because we know we've got some work to do. Or we've got to have a long look at ourselves.
All right. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Cheers.